It's time to continue my look back at one of my favourite actors in his 90s heyday. We saw with 1996's The Cable Guy, Jim Carrey take a more dark comedic turn, but 1997 rolled around and Liar Liar provided us with more of what brought Jim Carrey to the dance, but this one also brought a fantasy and sentimental edge. So let's take a look back at Liar Liar. Liar Liar, released on May 2nd, 1997, was once again directed by Tom Shadyac, who had worked with Jim Carrey on Ace Ventura and also went on to work with him in 2003's Bruce Almighty. Believe it or not, during very early development of the film, the script was tailored at Disney for Goldie Hawn in the eventual Jim Carrey role. I'm sure that would have been a very, very different movie. It's crazy that we went from having Goldie Hawn in a sweet little Disney story to this.
Stop breaking the law, asshole!
Other actors considered for the role were none other than Hugh Grant and comedy legend Steve Martin, who at one time was all set to do it but ultimately turned it down due to scheduling conflicts. Because of his insane popularity, Jim Carrey was of course approached after he had completed The Cable Guy, and money spinner Jim was paid $20 million for this role. I reckon Jim at this point could have just asked $50 million. I want $50 million. And I reckon studio just went, yeah, fuck it, give it to him. Like, he got $40 million in 2 years. He got The Cable Guy, $20 million, and then he got Liar Liar, $20 million. Absolutely mental, mate.
Oh, I'm such a shit!
Jim Carrey also declined the role of Dr. Evil in Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery so he could be committed to Liar Liar. Now, I would have loved to have seen Jim Carrey as Dr. Evil. How different would the Austin Powers series have been if that was the case? But I also wouldn't want to erase Liar Liar. So it's one of those cool alternate dimension fantasies I have. Carrey as Dr. Evil would have been mental.
Shit.
Shadyac and Carrey saw the film as a transition in their careers toward more grounded comedies. They were influenced by movies such as Big from 1988, another popular movie about a young boy's wish coming true. Oh, and I probably don't even need to mention it, but the film did incredibly well. On a budget of $45 million, it ended up netting $302.7 million worldwide. Liar Liar tells the story of a selfish and busy lawyer, Fletcher Reed, played by Jim Carrey, who has no time for his young son, Max, played by Justin Cooper. Fletcher's ex-wife, Audrey, played by Maura Tierney, is getting very sick of Fletcher's constant dishonesty to his son, and after his dad lets him down and doesn't turn up to his birthday party, Max has one wish, which is that his dad could go 24 hours without telling a lie. And of course, this little wish comes true, and Fletcher Reed is never the same again. Now, it may sound crazy saying this when the man at this point had made The Mask, Ace Ventura and The Cable Guy, but Liar Liar for me has to be Carrey's most manic and wild performance. I know Shadyac and Carrey said they wanted to go more grounded, and they did with the themes, but the actual performance and the storyline gives Carrey free rein with his physicality. Carrey almost doesn't need any other characters in certain scenes. Every part of his body becomes active. The character is literally fighting against himself. Fletcher even literally beats himself up at one point, and the scene is very creative and out of control, and people remember it to this day. I find it painful to watch. It's hilarious but hardcore.
What the hell are you doing? I'm kicking my ass! Do you mind?
Look, you beating yourself up in the toilet doesn't change the fact that I need a piss. So go and do it over there. I need a piss, mate.
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
When Fletcher literally beat himself up in the restroom, no sound effects were used. Those are really the sounds of Jim Carrey's head slamming into the urinal, floor and walls. Bonkers. I really do feel this performance is quite underrated because Carrey puts his entire being into this performance. In literally every scene you can see he's putting in 100%. In fact, Jim Carrey got into character so much that he himself said that he would go home every day with total exhaustion. I think it might be the most physical comedy performance of all time. Another example of the wild humour of this movie, look no further than Fletcher hijacking a staircase to chase a plane which is about to fly his son out of his life. This is bloody bananas. It's almost like a Jim Carrey action scene. It's so over the top and so crazy, but it's extremely entertaining. You would never see anything like this in any other comedy. Of course it's a heightened crazy story, but one of the appealing things is under the surface of all this insanity is the grounded love between a father and son, and a realisation for Fletcher that he needs to start being honest to the people who matter or he will lose them forever. I think the increased physicality of this performance makes sense, because if you think about it, if anyone was forced to tell the truth for one day, especially someone with a busy corporate life, you think that you would be able to do it, but I actually think the strain would become unbearable and you would literally be at odds with your own body. I've always liked the idea that if someone was forced to tell the truth for a whole day in that sort of job, they would end the day a beaten and defeated mess with ragged clothes and bruises all over them, just as Fletcher does. It raises the question of whether we actually want honesty and truth when it can sometimes lead to some uncomfortable results. Honesty. You know, sometimes you do just want to let rip, so it actually must be very therapeutic. How good would it feel to just tell the truth about someone like, say, Nigel Farage? Take it, Fletcher.
He's a pedantic, pontificating, pretentious bastard, a belligerent old fart, a worthless, steaming pile of cow dung, figuratively speaking.
Sometimes the truth just makes you feel so fuzzy and warm inside. The movie actually boasts a very good supporting cast. Maura Tierney as Audrey is very good in the film. You really buy her frustration with Fletcher and you see how much she wants him to be the father she knows he is deep down. It's a real regretful performance, but she's also very charming and does her absolute best for her son. I just feel sorry for her boyfriend, Jerry, played by Carrey. She's literally keeping him around just to be with someone.
I love you.
Thank you.
That wasn't exactly the answer I was looking for.
Thank you very much.
Wow, that's generally one of the most awkward and cold-hearted moments in a comedy. Audrey, you complete bitch. Fletcher's secretary Greta, played by Anne Haney, is a key character in the movie. She sees the best in him, although he tries to take advantage of her good nature. She gives a very sweet but also confident and forceful performance when she needs to. Yes, Greta does have the guts to walk out on Fletcher at one point in this movie, and that's great to see. The character has a sense of liberation, and you can feel her experience that she, after so many years, she won't deal with this sort of treatment and she stands up for herself.
Several years ago, a friend of mine had a burglar on her roof. A burglar. He fell through the kitchen skylight, landed on a cutting board on a butcher's knife, cutting his leg. The burglar sued my friend. He sued my friend, and because of guys like you, he won. My friend had to pay the burglar $6,000. Is that justice?
No! I'd have got him 10.
Fletcher, you were a complete scumbag back here. You just literally admitted that if a burglar sued the person they were burgling, you would get them more money. Not even Ebenezer Scrooge would entertain that shit. I definitely need to mention Jennifer Tilly as Fletcher's client Samantha Cole. She is awesome. It's always nice to see Jennifer Tilly pop up in things. She's a great character actor. And here she is, the ultimate man-eater, and she's so obnoxious. The film makes an effort to show us some of the most unlikable and dishonest people out there in order to drive home the message that this is what becomes of you if you live a life of lying and dishonesty. Samantha Cole is arrogant, unkind and too far gone, and Jennifer Tilly has a ball and shows her villainous femme fatale charisma with this performance. This was definitely Carrey's first movie that could be considered targeted at families. There's a syrupy and sentimental feel to the film, and overall it's a story about rekindling a relationship between father and son. The movie can be very touching in places, and I feel like this was Jim Carrey tackling a Robin Williams-esque emotional comedy, comparative to Mrs. Doubtfire or Patch Adams. Rewatching Liar Liar over the years, you do come to realise that it's actually quite an interesting film. It was a more honest movie than Carrey had done so far. Fletcher points out in one scene that while he may have a problem with lying, this is not something unique to him. It affects all of humanity, and I think this is a really great example of the adult world clashing with the children's worldview. We all know that our world is complicated and full of grey areas, and lies can be throwaway, but through the eyes of a child, a lie can mean everything.
This time when I unwished it, I only did it because you told me to.
All right. Now do it again, and this time, mean it.
But I can't.
Why not?
Because I don't want you to lie.
I explained this. I have to lie. Everybody lies. Mommy lies. Even the wonderful Jerry lies.
But you're the only one that makes me feel bad.
That scene is a real gut punch and reminds us that children sometimes have the insights we really need to hear in our lives. Yes, Fletcher may not be able to avoid lying, but he could certainly lie less, and he could also treat his son with respect and honesty. and stop stepping over people because he can get away with it. Liar Liar is a film that points out that of course everybody lies, but we have a duty to set an example to our children. We want them to see us being honest and decent. Who would have thought the guy who brought us Ace Ventura would eventually give us a movie with a pretty strong moral message that we should be there for our children and have them growing up knowing they can trust us. Overall, I would give Liar Liar 4 stars out of 5. I find the movie highly entertaining and Carrey is truly on fire, giving us some of the most memorable comedic scenes of the 90s all in one movie. The film's heart is strong and it packs an emotional punch when it needs to. It was a very cool concept which I feel has been watered down by several comedies that have clearly just done a spin on the idea, but none have delivered in such a genuine and hilarious way. I love Liar Liar. For me it is yet another iconic Jim Carrey 90s comedy.
What's your case? Our case is simply this.
What did you think of Liar Liar? Let me know in the comments down below, and please check out the Jim Carrey reviews playlist. Next time I'm going to be talking about the 1998 much acclaimed The Truman Show. You can also subscribe for lots more movie talk for film obsessives. I will see you guys next time.